Hey, beautiful people. How we doing today? Everybody having a good Wednesday? New comic book day? I am. Had a great time at the shop, chit-chatting, hanging out with friends. Good times. Picked up my stack for the week. Can't wait to talk about some of these books on the Southern Fried Geekery podcast, which, by the way, you should be listening to. New episodes drop every Sunday. Check them out. This past episode was a lot of news. Just a lot of, like, kind of what's happening in the mainstream of the geek culture. But we also talk about comics. This next week is just going to be straight up just comic books. That's all we're going to talk about. So I'm really looking forward to that. All right, so House of Ideas, Captain America. I'm loving what Ta-Nehisi Coates is doing on this book. Fun times. Adam Kubert's art is gorgeous. Matt Miller is crushing it on the colors. So historically speaking, although I'm an Avengers fan, I haven't always been a big Captain America fan. Ain't nothing wrong with his art. Man, Ta-Nehisi, it's probably his best book. Interestingly enough, I like it better than his Black Panther book, which was, his first run on Black Panther was great. I really enjoyed it. This latest one has kind of slacked off for me, and I'm not enjoying it as much, but that's okay. Can't like them all. Loving what he's doing on Cap. On this next book, a series that has blown me out of the water. Speaking of stuff that I'm not historically a fan of, other than some of the greats. Daredevil is not my forte. He's not my character. I love stuff like Born Again. But this latest issue, Chip Zdarsky is writing is stellar. It's other than maybe one issue, I've thought all of them were a home run. And there was one issue that he got he did that Chip Zdarsky thing where he got kind of silly, and I didn't need that. But Latik Kumar Sharma is killing it on the pencils. Jay Leistein is inking it, and Hava Tartaglia, I think is how you say that, is the colors, doing the colors on this. This series, No Devils, Only God, is kind of picking up with what's been going on in the city. Matt, as usual, is having a crisis of the spirit, a crisis of the body, and a crisis of the soul. It's good stuff. We are getting a new creative team on the Savage Sword Conan with number 6. So I'm curious to see how this sets off. I thought the first arc was great. Jerry Duggan did a good job with it. This one is Meredith Finch, Luke Ross, and Nolan Woodard. So I'm curious to see how this one piggybacks on the last arc with how well it was. But I mean, look, at the end of the day, it's a Conan story. It's not hard to impress me with Conan. I'm kind of a shill for Conan, and I'll freely admit that. So, what Jason Aaron's doing on the main titles, fun stuff. I think we're fixing to wrap up the Age of Belit. It's all good stuff, man. Marvel's doing a great job with that, the Conan line, since they've gotten a hold of it. And it's nothing to complain about. I have a feeling I'm really going to like that. I'm curious to see what Matt from the podcast thinks about it. So I'm sure one of us will speak on it when we talk about comics coming up pretty quick, because it's good stuff. Shuri, number 9, Nikiti Odafor. This book has been above and beyond what I ever expected it to be. Rachel Stott's done gorgeous work, gorgeous cartooning. The cast that they apply to her story is fun times, and even though it's a lighthearted story that like most people of any age can read, it still feels like it's got a lot of gravity to it. It's got a lot of weight, and it completely takes place in the absence of Black Panther. From what's happening over in that title, it's a very empowering book. It's got some of my favorite characters in it. Music plays a big role in it, so I love that aspect of it because I love music. I would encourage everyone to read that book. It's just fun, man. It's lighthearted yet very gravitational. You want to say hi? Come here, come say hi. Come here. Annie wants to pop up and say hi. Let's say hi. Rawr. Annie the Road Dog. Oh, hang on. Oh, you're okay. Goodness, come here. She's huge. Say hi. Say hi to everybody. That's Annie the Roo Dog. And Annie is looking forward to reading Uncanny X-Men number 20. Rosenberg and LaRocca are a good pairing. I'm going to miss this book when it's gone. Can I see underneath you? There we go. I'm going to wear you like a hat. Even though I am looking forward to Hickman's stuff, I'm going to miss that book because I think he's finally hit a stride. They finally found some. They finally found a nice little route to settle into, and she's gone. And she's back to settle into after that little run, and they're still dealing with Wolfbane's death and the aftermath of that, both in the story and both in the real world, with people not liking that. So, I'm along for the ride. I know a lot of people jump off books when the new a reboot is announced, and that's fine. But I'm going to follow this one through. Next, but certainly not least, Champions number 6, Jim Zub, who has been, even on the last run of this, just wrote a story that I could not get enough of. Juana and Ramirez is on the art, Markio Men's doing the covers, and Clayton Cowles doing the letters. We were talking about this at the comic shop today, so I know a lot of people were unhappy in the past with Marvel because they seem to put all their main characters on the back burner for all of these like legacy characters, and people didn't like that, which is fine. That's a fine opinion to have. But to me, they're playing the long game, and now those characters, although the regular characters are back, like we always knew they would be, now those characters are being able to kind of take off on their own and just do some really good stories, man. I love Ironheart. I love Miles Morales in this book. Miss Marvel is crushing it. Everything about the Champions. It's the Young Avengers story that I'm not getting right now, and I love it. So I really think you would enjoy it too if things like Young Avengers are in your wheelhouse. You should check it out, man. Jim Zub is a strong writer. Assassin Nation from Image. This is Kyle Starks and Erica Henderson. I love this book, and we've spoken about it on the show. There's not really any need to say more about it than what we already have. It's Erica Henderson being awesome on the arts, and it's really, really funny writing by Kyle Starks. He tells these kind of stories very well. And the sun's going down. This video is a mess, y'all. So let's turn that on. There we go. You can see me now. How's that? Better? I like it. From Boom, Brian Azzarello and Maria Lovett, Faithless. I've liked the story so far. After I read the first issue, I was kind of just really scared that it was going to be a voyeuristic story, as I was speaking to with somebody on the SFG's Facebook page. I was kind of worried it was going to be a voyeuristic glimpse into gay sex, for lack of a better words, but lesbian sex. Oh, look, chicks get in bed together, that's so hot, let's write it. There's actually a very compelling story here. It still feels kind of voyeuristic in a way. So I haven't put my stamp on it yet. I haven't gotten to the point where I'm really, really sure about what's happening, whether or not I like it. It's interesting, though. So whether or not I land on, oh, this is a book that I like, or oh, this is a book I don't like, it is interesting. And I think, art should be interesting. You don't necessarily have to enjoy it, but you can get something out of it. So if you're not reading Faithless, check that out. Like I said, from Boom Studios. Back over at Image, the book that continues to be my favorite horror story, continues to be on the top of my stack whenever I read. Gideon Falls, Jeff Lemire, Andrea Sorrentino, Dave Stewart, powerhouse of teams. The things that they do with panels and breakdowns in this are crazy. The fact that they've been having 2 parallel worlds working in cohesion is bananas. It's a good story. It's fun. I dig it. So I can't wait to check out this next chapter of that. The only book that I think may have jumped onto the pile ahead of that is, in fact, Little Bird by Darcy Van Polgeist, Ian Bertram, and Matt Hollingsworth. If nothing else, but for the art. Ian Bertram's art's stunning. What's going to happen with the act, Little Bird, as they there's a story for. Against authoritarianism, against, in a lot of senses, organized religion and control of the masses through fear, and that stuff is great. And that If you're not into metaphors, then it's just a hyper-violent blood and guts and gorgeous art. And ain't nothing wrong with that either. If that's what you want, check the book out. Mary Shelley, Monster Hunter. Adam Glass, Olivia Quatero Briggs, and Hayden Sherman. Man, Hayden Sherman. I didn't see this dude coming, man. He just knocks out of the park. His art, the colors, he's got that kind of indie vibe that Aftershock is known for, but just it's a next level book. A retelling of the Mary Shelley mythos. I likes it. I know some of the other guys do too. I know Craig is a big fan of that book, which he tends to love all things Aftershock, and I get it, man. It's a great publisher. It might be my favorite non-Big Two publisher. Scotty Young and Jorge Corona, Middle West. Thing I love about this book, Scotty Young, if you're familiar with his stuff, you've read his stuff, he's had the same colorist, John Francis Bayou, forever. Go Sandlot with it, forever. And he and Scotty are a very, very dynamic pair when it comes to the visual artwork. It's great seeing John Francis Bayou and Jorge Corona team up and kind of have that same magic. It really speaks to the power of a good colorist to be able to add to the tone of a really compelling story. This is a wonderful book, man. Scotty, it's a more serious book than I think what Scotty Young is used to writing. And there's nothing. To me, it's the best thing he's done yet. And as much as I was a fan of I Hate Fairyland, to be able to say that this is quantitatively better, maybe because it's telling a more adult story, it's telling a story with more heart. It's nice. I love seeing these I love these characters, but I love seeing these creators, quote unquote, level up when it comes to how they make comics. Let's see. Next, but certainly not least, Sabrina, Teenage Witch. This one's fun. Man, Kelly Thompson's a good writer. I didn't particularly care about Sabrina before I picked this book up. I've been enjoying the Archie horror stuff, so I thought I wanted to kind of jump on this. I'm not the biggest fan of Veronica and Andy Fish's art. It's fine, and the coloring really sets it off. But historically, I'm not an Archie fan, right? So that style is not necessarily something that really hits home for me, and it's nothing like it's perfect for what it is. It's nothing that's going to take away from it. For me, it's just not my aesthetic, and that's cool. That's because it's great art. But from what I like in the Archie universe is the afterlife with Archie, of course, Jughead the Hunger, the kind of Archie horror stuff. And this doesn't have that flair. And I think I just want something else out of it. So this may be the last time it's on my pull list. I hope not. Maybe this won't blow my socks off. If it doesn't, oh well. Like maybe one of you will like it. Like I don't have to like everything. That's fine. A book that I do love and I'm going to keep reading until it goes away is A Walk Through Hell, the most sadistic thing that Garth Ennis has ever written. And that's saying a lot because he's a sadistic motherfucker. Goran Suzuka on the art. The last issue was very disturbing. Very, very disturbing. Especially, I don't want to spoil anything, but for me as a gay man, very disturbing. So I'm really looking forward to seeing what he does, how he pulls this together. Where these people actually are, man. Are they actually in hell? Like what is going on? I likes it. And the Cronenbergian body horror thing that he does to really drive home points is dope. It's the hotness. Only have 2 books from DC this week, which is unfortunate. Of course, Batman, number 73 by Tom King, Mikhail Janin, and Jordi Belair. I've been along for the ride so far. Not going to quit, man. I like what he's doing. The last issue since, now that we've gotten out of this Nightmare arc, the stories have gotten a lot better. The art's never slacked up. It's always been fine. I love Tom, man. I love his writing. I think he's great with the bat. This is going to play into some of the stuff where him and where he and the cat were in the desert. As you can tell by the cover, it's a throwback to one of those issues where they're on horses and kind of getting out of a mess. So I'm curious to see what they do with it. I'm excited about reading comics, and I love that. I love being excited about what I'm going to read. That being said, and this is where I'm tentatively, I don't want to be a negative Nancy. I did grab Superman Year One by Frank Miller and John Romita Jr. with Danny Mickey and Alex Sinclair. Book one, DC's Black Label. It's the magazine format. It's huge. Things is, bigger than my head. As a storyteller, I have no particular umbrage to take out on Frank Miller. As a storyteller, even his recent stuff has been fine. I've never been a big fan of John Romita Jr. I like some of his stuff, definitely not all of his stuff. I flipped through the art in this book already, and it's rough. And like I said, I don't want to sway anybody's opinions on anything. I don't know that I'm going to like this book. Maybe I will. I'm not going to hate it at the end of the day. And if I don't, if it's not my bag, it hurts me 0% to put it down and to walk away from it and enjoy that other people enjoy it. So we're going to see what happens with it. I'm sure it'll be talked about in a recent episode of SFG. We're going to hit the high notes on it as per usual, our 50-50 rule, especially for me, walking in being a non-Romita Jr. fan. I'm going to have to hit that 50-50 rule hard and make sure I've got some nice things to say about it, because there's no point in talking about something you just objectively disliked and can find no value in. And I know I will find some value in that. So, look, at the end of the day, if you can't find value in a piece of art, you're not looking hard enough, because there's always something there. So dig a little bit harder. And I'm speaking to myself more than I'm speaking to anybody else on that. Well, those are my books for the week. Can't wait to really dive into my stack. It's been a long week, a rough week. For those of you who have been following me on Facebook, lots of stuff going on. I've got to finish this last week's stack. I've still got a few books to read. I'm going to check it out. And I can't wait to dive in these. So I will catch you guys on the flip side. Sunday, we're going to record another episode of the SFG podcast, and you are going to download it and listen to it because you're good people and you love us and you support us, and that's why we love you and support you. I hope everybody is well and doing fantastic. And I'll see you next time. Bye, guys.